And welcome everybody to another Winning Wednesday edition of the Heat Ratio Podcast. I'm your host, Tony Cotillo, joined by my co-host, Mr. John Coker and Coach Dave Dixon. And today is National Package Protection Day. We always start the show off on a national day of the week, and Wednesday seems to be about protecting your package. Now, I mean, we could go like, what could Brown do for you? Like the UPS commercial. I haven't, needed package protection for my players in a long time. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if I should have just said that, but whatever. It is what it is. But John made a good point. Nobody was protecting Melvin Gordon
I
this
need
week.
package protection. Yeah. Hey, but going into week 13, I got Melvin Gordon and Leonard Fournette. So you want to talk about package protection.
This is when we needed a Blue Chew segment. We could have used the Blue Chew segment for package protection.
Yeah.
Just calling it the way it is. Look, Coach Dave's
I love how John was able to go right to business right away. He was capable. I'm thinking in my head all the wrong things, and John is able to keep it straight.
It's business, man. This is business.
Strictly business. I love it.
Remember that movie, Strictly Business, with Tommy Davidson? That was a good movie.
That's a good song, isn't it?
Strictly Business?
Isn't it?
EPMD.
Eric B?
EPMD.
EPMD.
Absolutely. Good. Yeah. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
Old school hip hop. Mm-hmm. But again, package protection. We could talk about how Carson Wentz was protected a little better in the second half of that game because we ran the ball. Might as well go right in a little Eagles segue here. Obviously, they win the game, 25-22. We're going to get into our three takeaways from those games, but I just have to say I'm shocked. Maybe you guys can help with this, but I talked about this last night on PhillyInfluencer.com, and I was really I couldn't wait to get to the threads after this game. I was excited. I was excited because I seen a team committed to run the ball in the second half. I seen a team make an adjustment on the defensive side of the ball in the second half. And I seen Carson Wentz lead down the field a team in order to put them in position to win a game. So I was shocked when I went online and I wrote Carson is clutch. And I got killed. I got destroyed. I even said this. I said, when did this page become full of haters? Like, I don't understand. Like, listen, I know, all the people want to be smart asses and say, did Carson kick the field goal too? No, dude, stop it. I get all that. What I'm saying is, how about the 4th and 1 that they converted, that they needed to convert, right? I mean, the pass to Aguilar. I mean, stuff he did, he moved that team methodically down the field. So, and we know, those games are always close in the NFC East.
Yeah.
So come on.
Win's a win.
Absolutely.
Win's a win. So I'm curious, Tony. Tell us what were some of the concerns on what were people aggravated about Carson leading?
Oh, dude, I got comments like, it's one game. Give me a break. All of a sudden he's clutch. Yeah. What about all the games he lost? What about he didn't kick the field goal? He wasn't in charge of the defense.
Well,
where's all this coming from?
I'll be very mean. And I'll say those people don't understand the game. What you talked about, the completion to Aguilar, I thought was, number one, the protection was excellent, right? And he
had all day to throw.
Yes, and he made the right choice and threw a strike, and Aguilar caught the ball. Sounds simple, right? But you have to execute, and the execution of that play to maintain that drive was perfect. And you could argue that won us the game, that completion right there.
It probably did.
Right? So I don't understand these people. We're a 5-6 football team that has struggled many levels. So a win's a win. Thank you very much. We earn the right to play another day, Monday night against Washington, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you could be in first place at 6-6. After that game, if you win against Washington, which is a very winnable game.
Very winnable. Colt McCoy.
So, if you don't mind, we got 3 points to bring up for the Eagles game. Right?
Hook it up.
Running game. You know no how doubt. I feel about that.
All of us. It's been what, 6 weeks? What are we, the biggest geniuses in the NFL?
I don't get it. It's amazing how the RPO works when you run a ball.
And John, you said it right. Like this isn't. You're not. I can't stand the fact that reinventing the wheel always seems to be a question. I don't get it. And you want to tell me that you didn't know what you had in Josh Adams? No kidding. No kidding, you didn't know. But if you don't use them, you definitely don't know what you have.
You know what, Dave? Speaking of that, three undrafted free agents are looking like big starting NFL running backs. Philip Lindsay, Gus Edwards for the Ravens, and Josh Adams, all undrafted.
That's a great
Now
point.
they're leading their running.
And what
back
about
team, their
Lindsey?
teams.
I don't know if you guys watched that game and heard the commentary of that game.
Watch
where
that game.
Well, yeah, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry.
Yes.
But where they said he turned down the offer first.
No.
So yeah, because he played in Denver, so he was highly upset that they didn't draft him. So when they reached out to him he said, "No way, I don't want to play for them." He was mad. And then his mom or his grandma was like, "Listen, let's think about this a little bit."
Yeah.
3 days later, he came back, was like, "Okay,
That's
I'm
because
in."
he's still living under his mom's roof.
Yeah,
And that's the truth.
exactly.
That's an
Darn
awesome
right.
story. That's
Kid,
an awesome
you better
story.
get yourself a job.
$15,000 signing bonus,
How about it?
and Saquon
Yeah.
got $21 million.
How about it?
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, where was he at? But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well,
well.
that goes to that's point number 3 for me in our 3 points about the Eagles. Number 1, running game, 30-plus rushing attempts, and this isn't Dave Dixon's theory. This is a theory that was developed from football long ago, that if you rush the ball around 30 attempts a game, your advantage of winning increases, right? You control the clock, you keep their offense off the field, and that's if your running game is successful. That's not pulling any punches about that. But we were moving the ball effectively. Number 2 for me is defensive line. The defensive line stepped up their game to me. I thought that they showed up, and Michael Bennett, who people want to put a question mark against, that man played very well, and he controlled the line of scrimmage and controlled the passing game for the Giants with some of his forcing the throws and hitting Eli. We all know Eli.
His swim move technique is ridiculous.
And if you noticed, like they did a similar thing where they put Long on as an end, and they put Bennett
I'm glad you brought
one-on-one.
that up. I was going to bring that up.
One-on-one with the guard, which the guards are typically fatter, slower, whatever you want to say. So I thought the defensive line stepped up. Schwartzy, I don't like Schwartzy still, but you have to give him credit because no one expected their defensive backfield to do anything that they did, right? So let's give them a little credit for coming through and coming up with a game plan to put these kids into place. And what that means is they weren't able to blitz as much as people would have liked them to, because
Obviously.
you can't blitz with younger guys back there, although I would want to. You can't, because when you blitz, that means that now this new kid is now responsible to change his normal scheme and be responsible for something else. And you don't want to throw that out there to these kids because they don't know what they're doing. And I know, hogwash, it's football, it's this and that. Well, when your job is on the line and wins are on the line, you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So moving on. Pat Shurmur helped us win the game. All right, that's my third. That's my third Eagles point for today. Pat Shurmur is, going back to reinventing football.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
You have Saquon Barkley. Hand him, throw him, whatever you can do. Direct snap him the ball. You have Odell Beckham. You have Ingram. You have Sterling Shepard.
He was hurt.
Yeah.
Well, he was effective in the beginning, wasn't he?
Which
No.
makes Rhett Ellison's performance even that much better.
I got to bring that up because that brings a great point that I want to call how much of a fraud those two announcers were that called that game. So you're watching the game, okay? I was watching the game like everybody else. I knew at kickoff Evan Ingram wasn't playing. It came across the freaking screen 35,000 times. Evan Ingram, injured in pregame warm-ups, will not play. And then the third quarter there's Evan Ingram. I wonder what's going on with him. He looks healthy to me. Looks like he can't play. Dude, that's your job as an announcer to understand what the hell is going on. And then somebody must have gotten his ear because then 5 minutes later, he had brought it up. Yeah, great call. Great call. Come on, man. It's a violation. Yeah. Sorry, it's a violation. But God, I'm sorry to go on tangent.
That's my 3 points. Shurmur helped us win by not getting Barkley and Odell.
But that was
more
the other
targets.
thing on Facebook about. Let me ask you about Shurmur. But Shurmur wasn't the reason why we won. But I'm not going to say he didn't contribute to the win. But I think he contributed to the momentum swing. But he's not the reason why we won.
Well, Okay,
Do you agree with that?
No. Well, listen, we won the game. Okay, I'm not taking anything away. We made plays and we executed when we needed to win the game. But Pat Shurmur helped us win the game by not giving their stars the ball. You have Saquon Barkley. You go from one half to the other. You look at the stats. You look at the touches. Why wouldn't he receive the ball in the second half? Why didn't he? And you can tell me, they made stops. I don't care if they make stops or not. Just continue to run the football.
When you had LaDainian Tomlinson, do you stop taking the ball out of his hands? Do you take it out of Zeke Elliott's hands? Do you take it out of these guys' hands? No. Todd Gurley? No. Well, although that's what happened in the LA game.
Oh, well, I blame
Right?
Andy Reid for that game.
I'm just saying. No, but I'm saying McVay took the ball out of Gurley's hands.
He did. And on the other side, Andy Reid took the ball out of, what's his name?
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt's hands by not running the ball when you're up. They continue to throw the football. This is the NFL.
I know.
And it's a shame.
It is.
Well,
it is.
No, your point is my number 3 point, which was basically, is this the Eagles' guts coming back? Their mentality changing? They're getting a little bit of fire underneath them? Or was it the ineptitude of the Giants in the second half? You dominate the first half, and then second half, you totally change your game plan, which makes no sense. That's my opinion. Which one is it? I think it's a little bit of both.
I have a conspiracy theory.
Wow. Would
love
you like to?
conspiracy
Would you
theories.
like to enlighten
I
us
do.
now?
Listen. Everybody's going to understand I'm not a Doug Peterson guy. Everybody knows I've never been a Doug Peterson guy. I don't think he's that great of a coach. I'm sorry. He didn't win us a Super Bowl. The Eagles won us a Super Bowl. Is what it is. People may disagree with that. I really don't care. My point is, I think that locker room finally went in, and there was some whispers about Malcolm Jenkins popping off saying, keep it simple, keep it this. I think Malcolm called it and finally said, you know what? I don't give a shit what this guy says right now. We're going to go in and play our game because there's a different way that they've played over the first half of this. Well, more than the first half, first 11 weeks, but they've been a different team. Their moxie hasn't been the same. They've been somewhat lethargic. Their play calling has been questionable. Everything has been predictable. Everything they've done hasn't worked. And I think finally somebody stepped up and said, let's go out and play exactly the way we know how to play. We're going to dumb this thing down, and we're just going to go out and play football. And guess what? That's what they did.
Well, and Malcolm Jenkins, he took it on his shoulders. He got the pick.
True leader, dude.
He gets the pick, and that goes to point number 3, turnovers.
That wasn't Doug Peterson who won that game.
I'm
sorry, that wasn't Doug who won that game.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins won the game.
Honestly, in my opinion, not to say Carson didn't win, not to say, but Malcolm, you're right. Malcolm Jenkins was the fuel behind that firestorm that took over that second half.
Well, and it started at the end of the first half.
Because think about the other thing, about what Dave said. You're right. The interception was huge.
That is
was
what
huge.
kicked it off.
But,
because now you go into halftime. Now he got a speech. He's leading by example. He's leading with his mouth. And you go in and you come out like a different team in a second
Some
half.
people will say that was just a stupid play by Eli. Whatever. Or Eli.
It definitely was.
Matter.
Saquon was right in the flat.
Yeah. But
you still got to take advantage of those stupid plays.
You made the play.
Exactly.
You made the play.
And point number 1's run the ball. So that we are.
Well, I think that was my point 1 too. I think we all agree on that.
Yep.
But to piggyback the defensive tackle situation, and I think that's why it's not really a conspiracy theory, but my theory behind all this is valid because don't we remember Michael Bennett was not happy. Okay, in my opinion, Michael Bennett, I thought, was brought here to be a defensive tackle in this scheme. The pair one-on-one with Fletcher Cox because Jernigan was hurt, and we lost that guy in the middle. They signed Haloti Ngata to me, who was a bench rotational player, not a starter. Okay, they deemed him a starter. They changed offensive philosophies. They wanted a guy in the middle to be a run stopper instead of worrying about a guy getting to the quarterback. And Bennett obviously was mad. He was upset. I came here to play. I know I can play, and I know where I play the most effectively, and that was going to be in the middle, okay? And then what happened? All of a sudden at halftime, now he's playing D-tackle? Is it an aberration that all the things that we've kind of wanted with run the ball, play D-tackle, changing up audibles on the line. Like Carson changed more calls at the line in that second half that he has all year. Is it just a coincidence? No, they took it in their hands and finally said, "This is what we're going to do," and they showed them it works. It works. So, Doug, listen to your players, man. Listen to your players.
On listen to your players and talking about what John said about Malcolm. Lane Johnson also came out and said publicly, "Run the ball. We want to."
And that offensive line was mauling people. They played like they did last year in that second half.
Yeah,
I mean, Josh Adams couldn't be. He had holes. I'm not taking nothing away from him because I think he could stretch and gain 4 yards because he's so big. But I mean, he had holes and he had seams all over, man.
No, I agree with you. Now, and everything you said, I pretty much agree with. There's a lot of changes.
Fast forward, do we continue?
Well, before we fast forward, let me just take a 10-second pause.
Go ahead, man.
This was the 3-8 New York Giants, and when you turn things around, it's much easier doing it against an inferior defense. I don't care if you're talking about young kids playing basketball and you're trying to teach them a pick and roll. It's easier to do a pick and roll when you don't have to worry about being an inferior team or playing against a more athletically gifted team, and you have more time and more ability and more confidence. So, yes, I agree with everything you said. The Giants are 3-8, so you don't know what type of competition it is. But I'll tell you what, it's the first time that there's been a change in the right frickin' direction
finally
all year.
Finally.
So I will completely agree with that. Now let's fast forward.
So fast forward Monday night against the lowly first place. They're still first place. Watch the Redskins. Not to say I want to overlook this team by any means because you never know. And look, we just started off the show with that. NFC East. How many NFC East rivals do you play? You never know. Look, the Cowboys came in and kicked our ass a few weeks ago when we thought we were just going to step on the throat and they were going to be done, right? So, Monday night, the world's looking at them under the spotlight. I have no reason to believe that they take another step back. I think they found their stride a little bit. I understand their defense is still hurt, but please tell me who scares you in the offensive backfield. I shouldn't say backfield, but receiver-wise for the Washington Redskins. The only thing that could be a secret weapon is I see Chris Thompson. Looks like he's going to be healthy and probably play in that game, which is a nice little scat back out of the backfield that they may have a problem controlling as another receiver. But besides that, I mean, it's Colt McCoy, man. It's Colt McCoy. I understand that you never know. It's all about scheme. But if we can get pressure like we did in that second half, I don't think there's no way we don't come away with a win.
I think that our defense is going to be under scrutiny for the rest of the year with those D-backs that are back there. So, in my opinion, I think offense needs to step up big time. Redskins defense is a decent defense. They can play a little. Their front is a legitimate front, and they got who's Kerrigan, pass rusher, right?
Yep.
So, if in order for us to say, okay, maybe the Eagles are taking a step forward, their offense needs to be consistent. They need to sustain drives. They need to put 30-some points on the board to win this game, in my opinion. And for us to sit back and say, you know what, maybe there is a light at the end of the tunnel. That's my opinion.
I like that. Nothing wrong with that.
I mean,
what are your thoughts, John?
The one thing we saw in the second half was, Carson Wentz, he had some time. There's three things that you need to have happen if you really want to be a great offense. One, you need the offensive line to give the quarterback time. I mean, plain and simple. The more time they have, if they're comfortable, a good quarterback's going to find his guy. Two, the quarterback has to make the right decision and hit the right guy, know what there is, where they're going to be, and reading the defense. Third thing is the receiver has to get separation, all right? And that's the one thing that I also haven't seen. So you could put what you want on Wentz, and he hasn't been that accurate. But
you're right about the receivers.
I'll tell you what, other than Ertz just being a beast, they have not been getting separation. So all three of those things need to happen. And it, kind of like Coach Dave said, it's about that defensive line and keeping them. I mean, the Redskins are tied for 9th in sacks. You got to make sure that you're protecting Wentz, get that offense there. Their offense does not scare me whatsoever,
No.
even with the defensive players.
No.
Obviously, you don't want to get too far over your head because the minute you start, now we're back we're back to talking about winning the division. The sky was falling to last week. Now the talk is, win the division. So it's highs and lows, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Highs
Absolutely.
and lows here. Look, you're not as good as you think you are, and you're not as bad as you think you are.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Well, by any means, this season's not over. And
31-20 Eagles.
Wow, he just came out with prediction.
I like that. I said over 30. He's agreeing with me.
31-20.
31-20.
I'll take
I like that.
I'll take that any day of the week. I'll take
I like that. I'm going to go a little less extreme. I really am. I'm going to go a little low scoring. Right, not really low, but I'm going to go 24-13.
Ooh.
I'm going to see us score about 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal. I'm going to see them get a good. I think AP is going to find pay dirt.
Yes, that's 1 touchdown.
Right, and then I think they get a couple field goals, and that'll be about it.
I think there's going to be some random touchdown
There could
to
be.
I don't know, Maurice Harris or something on a blown coverage. But yeah, they're not putting up more than 2 scores. Touchdowns.
Hey, listen. How about you, Dave? You got a score?
I'll go 34-14.
I like it. You're high.
I'm just hoping that the offense comes to life for real, and we see they are definitely. You want to talk about run game? In order to keep these, which you brought up, and I said it already, their defensive line, you got to keep Carson clean. We need to be able to run the football, and we need to see Golden Tate on the quick hitters. We need to see that to keep Carson clean and not get mashed up. Did you see the one hit he took on his leg?
Yes, it did.
And something that you brought up last week has been floating around the world, right, in our Philadelphia world. Is Carson hurt?
I told you.
And guys are saying he's thrown flat-footed. He's this, he's that. Well, we need to keep him clean in order for us to have any type of chance. And in order to do that, and we'll go back to things I've talked about before, we need quick hitting plays. We need to roll the pocket.
Yep.
You definitely need to do that against this Washington team because they can get to the quarterback.
Kerrigan's still a beast.
He is absolutely a player.
He still is, man.
Absolutely
He's still a
player.
beast. But because we're gonna get on another topic in a minute here, because we could probably talk Eagles all day. But just to explain myself about, because I as soon as I got, is Carson hurt? Everybody's like, you're an idiot. What are you talking? Listen. I know I could be an idiot at times. It's cool. But all I basically was saying that in the first 7 or 8 weeks, the amount of hits that he took that I don't think he needed to take, he may not re-aggravate it, but it's probably his knee, I think, is sore. And I think, he was feeling good because we all remember he came out and he was rolling the pocket. He was running down the field and everybody was like, wow, this guy's amazing. He looks like he never had an injured knee. He's whipping off a brace. He looks great. And then he was getting killed. He was getting abused, right?
When nobody touches you and you don't get
Right.
your leg hit. Yeah,
So
it's easy.
So I think his knee's bothering him because obviously he wasn't 100%, and I think if he was 90%, he probably got knocked down to 75.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying. That until next year, you're not going to see the entire product of Carson Wentz. So anything he's doing, I was basically talking to the people that were killing him, and I was getting the pictures Nick Foles sent to me holding the trophy up. Like, stop with Nick Foles. Stop. Okay, this is your quarterback. Oh, and by the way, I was speaking of quarterbacks because we're going to go to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're talking. Okay. What was the Marcus Mariota number last night? Hold on.
First of
Hold
all.
on. Give me the Marcus Mariota number.
It's on your sheet.
Okay.
Where I'd see now it's right here. Here we go.
Okay.
22 of 23.
22 of 23.
Yep. For 303, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, you know what?
And wait,
Don't sign that guy.
Well,
He
guess what?
stinks.
While we're on air.
That's the game
Yeah.
that he just got his contract on right there.
Thank you, Dave.
Yes.
Thank you, Dave.
And in
And
my
John's not
comments,
signing him.
22 out of 23, exclamation point. He still stinks, period. I don't care what he did last week. Watch what he does the rest of the year.
Stinks.
He still stinks.
So you'd rather have Tom Savage?
I don't want either of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want Mariota.
Stop it.
We ain't going back on that.
No.
Bottom line
I
is,
just want to make sure.
No,
Because I seen it. I was like, I got to bring this up. Because I know you're.
I saw it too. He played a good game. There's no question. Hey, look, even the worst quarterbacks in the league, if they got 16 games, they're going to come out with 3 to 4 decent ones.
I'm not saying Bradford.
Oh.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sammy Sleeves ain't coming up with 3 or 4.
What do they
But
say? A broken clock is right twice a day. So.
oh yeah, that's right. Every squirrel finds a nut.
Yeah.
Something like that. Well, yeah.
Well, listen, I stayed in the middle of that argument, but he got his payday after last.
I like that.
game.
You're probably right.
He got his payday,
And Winston didn't. So
well, he deserves not to.
yeah, I agree.
And let's roll back the clock to Blake Bortles 3 years ago.
Exactly. Well, that's all true. You're right.
You're right.
It's a roll of the dice, man. That's why I hate going to
and-
Vegas or Atlantic City, and because you lose more than you win. It seems
Yeah,
like
you're right. You know, I was going to flip the basketball, but let's stay with football for a little bit for the basketball because we're talking a little fantasy football. Go around the NFL. That's a good segue. Why get off of it and come back to it? So, I got a question for John. Is Juju the main guy now in Pittsburgh? I got to ask you that.
And
man.
on your sheet, is Juju the new
right
number one?
I know. That's. I mean, this guy is
No,
unbelievable.
Is
he just getting because the coverage is getting rolled off of him, or
Antonio Brown's getting double covered everywhere he goes. You can't cover all these guys. That's also why you see Vance McDonald coming through with big catches every game. I mean, and then what's wrong with James Conner? Nothing's wrong with James Conner.
He's leaking oil a little bit.
Nah,
I don't
half
know.
of it, dude.
I don't know.
That's the Jacksonville and Denver. Jacksonville wanted that game big time, so they came with all they had.
Lev Bell sitting at home popping that popcorn right now.
You know what? I don't care what that dude's doing. He's probably he ain't popping some cheesesteaks, though. I'll tell you that. Hey, I don't care what Lev Bell's doing, but bottom line is Juju. Look, he is a number one wide receiver in the NFL, but he is not better than Antonio Brown. Although he does have 2 97-yard touchdown catches in his career, which is an NFL record.
He's been lighting up the fantasy charts. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. He's a direct benefit
of a AB double coverage.
That whole system, like Juju, for in another team might not be Juju that he is for the Steelers.
Not at all. Right?
So, and it goes back to Ben Roethlisberger to me. I mean, you look at, they had Haley as their OC, right? So this is his second year as the new OC, this guy, or is this his first year? First year. So Haley was there. Okay.
Yep.
So you got basically Ben Roethlisberger running the offense, in my opinion, and the offensive line doesn't get enough credit for what the Steelers are able to accomplish. And Roethlisberger. They control things. They are able to do what they want offensively, and they're fun to watch. It's an interesting dynamic, but going back to what you said, Juju is definitely benefiting from all the effects of Antonio Brown, but he's executing. They're executing.
Yeah, you're right.
So he's making his due.
I mean, not to the same level, but it's very similar to what's going on in Cincinnati. You have Tyler Boyd was blowing up when A.J. Green was there.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Green goes out. Now the focus is on him. He hasn't done squat, but you kind of have
a game this week.
Yeah, this was the first week he had a decent game over the past few. But he was blowing up with 9 to 10 catches.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
You know
when
what I mean?
Green was there, when Green was present.
Well, right, and but I will say, Galladay hasn't really taken that same hit, even though Golden Tate left. He's still been
Marvin Jones on IR now too.
Right.
So that's all they got out there.
Bruce Ellington, if you're caught in a bind, he ain't great.
Listen,
but
Bruce Ellington.
Depending on how deep your league is, you got deep benches, 14-team league. Hey, he's worth a flyer.
Speaking of injuries, Melvin Gordon.
Hey, I told you before we got on air.
That hurts.
I got Melvin Gordon and Leonard Fournette. So
that hurts.
And I traded away Eckler. So
I got to win it. I'm 8-4, and I have to win this week in order to win my division, which means I get a first round bye. I get a little pocket change, little jingle. And Melvin Gordon's my horse, man. So the only lucky part that I got, I'm not a handcuff guy. I don't believe in. Well, no, listen. I don't believe in handcuffs. I think they're a waste of roster space. But he was deemed. I was reading some things. I have Baldwin too, so I was reading some things about him and Doug Baldwin maybe not playing, and it was a 4:00 game. And the way my lineup worked, I didn't really have many 4:00 guys, so I'm thinking, man, if I wait till 4:00, so I go on the waiver wire Sunday morning, and Eckler's sitting on a waiver wire, so I'm like, you know what? I'll pick him up, just throw him in there, just in case. It works out to my benefit now because now I don't think I'm going to start, Austin Eckler, but at least I know I have him. Okay, so let me ask you something.
What's your alternative? If you just lose,
so remember,
Gordon,
I don't have to start two running back, right?
Yeah, it's one running back and what?
I can start 3 running backs, 1 running back, 2 running backs, or I can start 5 wide receivers, tight ends.
So it's anything. It's 5 flex.
So, but my triple threat to me on my team was Cam Newton's my quarterback, DeAndre Hopkins is my receiver, and Gordon as my running back. But I still have Nick Chubb. I still have Philip Lindsay. I still have
Z's in.
Yeah, right. So I'm probably going to start. So I'm going to start him and Lindsay, and then I'm going to start Hopkins. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I got a bunch of guys. Like I have Allen Robinson.
No.
Yeah, right. I'm just saying as my fifth spot.
Keep popping them up.
Allen Robinson.
I think Eckler gets in.
Emmanuel Sanders is my other guy.
Ooh.
So, and I'll tell you what the thing with Emmanuel Sanders hurts me is I hate having 2 guys on one team. So I'm always afraid that if I start Lindsey and Sanders, if Denver has a bad game, I'm screwed because they're both going to do nothing.
I have Emmanuel Sanders. He's playing who this week? I forget. They're playing a tough defense, but I would play Emmanuel Sanders no matter what.
Well, now I do. I normally do. But Gordon, obviously, he's my mainstay. So now, but luckily I have Chubb, who I think is phenomenal because that Cleveland team, and I want to talk about that.
Denver's at Cincinnati this week.
Oh, that's a good matchup.
Yeah.
Cincinnati stinks. I'm playing them both. So would you play Eckler, though?
No.
Think about my lineup.
It was Chubb.
So right now, in my lineup, is Chubb.
Hopkins is in. Chubb's in.
Chubb's in. Lindsey's in. Sanders is in. And Amari Cooper's in. That's what my 5 are right now.
So you ain't got room for anybody else.
That's what I'm saying. So do I throw Eckler in there?
Who are you going to take out?
And Josh Adams. I like Josh Adams.
I like Eckler this week better than Adams.
Ooh. I like Josh Adams.
So do I. I think Josh Adams has a nice fantasy rest of the season.
I think he has to
in
order for us to be successful.
And I think they're going to lean on him.
Dougie P said that he needs to give the ball to Adams more. 3 weeks in a row. We got it once. What the heck makes anybody think that he ain't going to revert back next week? Well, I'm just saying
he's Andy Reid's a legitimate kid. He's definitely going to.
I do agree, but I've thought this all along. Right. I thought the same thing with Ajayi last year in the beginning of this year, that they needed to feed him more and stop giving the other guys 6 to 8 carries. So, what I think and hope, yes, if Adams continues to get this workload the rest of the year, yes, dude, he's a gem. But we'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah, so you're talking, I'm flipping, right now, on my bench, I have Chris Thompson, Allen Robinson, John Brown, Austin Eckler, Doug Baldwin, and Josh Adams. So, I mean, they're one of those guys, I'd have to take, obviously, I'm starting Lindsey, Chubb, Sanders, Hopkins, and Cooper. So I'd have to take one of them guys out for one of them. I think I got a pretty decent squad. I got a couple good interchangeable parts. Not going to be able to make off for Gordon. Gordon's a beast. He's 25 points every week. You're not really going to get that. Especially when I'm going up against guys who certain bomb squads that they have. But I still like my chances, though. I think I could piece it together.
I'd like to thank John for Sony Michel.
I was just going to get to him because I got a good point with him. Sony, he almost got hurt. Did you see that?
He is hurt.
Wow.
He's not healthy.
Yeah, I know, but he went down and he came back.
Yeah. And they still they wouldn't have let him come back if it was a big deal, and he got such a workload. I'm not overly concerned for next week.
So my backfield is rookie Georgia running backs in my fantasy league. I got Nick Chubb is my starter.
Okay.
And Sony Michel, thanks to Mr. Coker over here. And I'm 6-6 with a chance to win the division in fantasy with a 7-6 record.
You bring up the Georgia thing, which I brought up on my Monday show. If anybody doesn't know, quick shout out right here to Guy Wayman, WENGradio.com. I do a show every Monday, 4:05 on WENGradio.com. It's a sports station out in Tampa, Florida. And it was amazing. I said to him, here's the funny part. I'm like, you had, at one time, are you telling me you had 3 guys in Nick Chubb, Todd Gurley, and Sony Michel all rostered on a Georgia team for one? That's amazing. These are 3 studs. Like, that just shows how good that team was. It's like, and I'm not a college football guy. Right. I'm not. I watch it here and there, but it was amazing to me that all 3 of them. But that was a good point. Sony Michel, listen, man. How about Christian McCaffrey again? This guy is a beast. He's going to finish up a top 3 back in fantasy. Do you disagree? I mean, with his overall PPR running back, everybody kept saying he's not going to get the touchdowns. He's got to have 6 right now, right?
He's sitting at number 4.
Right. Which
he's
is
sitting at number 4.
Just so, hold on. Number 4, just so where my 10%ers club, as Mr. Mike Diaz, I know he's listening, Philly Mike. I told him that the top 4 running backs, he was going to be at 4. And he told me I was crazy. Okay, and I said, no way in hell he's not going to finish below 4. So he's at 4 right now?
He's at 4
Does
right
he have
now.
a chance to go to 3? Who's 3?
Yeah, we got, Todd Gurley's 1 at
right.
297. Saquon, 286.
And he's not touching those 2 guys.
Kamara, 273. McCaffrey, 265.
You know what? He could catch Kamara because depending on, he's inconsistent, Kamara.
I am still,
and I know he's not your guy.
I predicted at the beginning of the year he would not finish as a top 10 running back. I'm not willing to give that up.
He's got his last 2 weeks haven't been great.
I know.
Okay.
Because Melvin Ingram came back after a suspension.
Melvin Ingram or Mark Ingram?
Melvin Ingram.
Marvin
Jones. Right?
Mark Ingram, the running back.
Mark Ingram.
Last week it's him with Mickey
wow.
Mantle. This year it's you with Melvin.
At least
Ingram.
he's alive.
Mickey Mantle.
He's
Mickey
alive
Mantle's
and kicking.
dead.
Well,
Who the hell would talk about Mickey Mantle?
I know.
I love it. Yo, how about Cleveland? Dude, listen, Greg Williams is making his bid to be a head coach. And Baker Mayfield, again, I said he was a top overall pick for a reason. I said he was the number 1 quarterback out of all those quarterbacks I draft, and he's proven me right. Not to say it wasn't luck, but I just thought he had it, and he's showing. But I think the best part about that game was when you find out that how much a dysfunctional franchise the Cincinnati Bengals are when they say that it looks like Hugh Jackson will now be the predecessor to Marvin Lewis. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you got a guy who can't win at all, who's been, I don't know, he's got naked pictures of somebody in his locker because he keeps a job, and now you're going to bring Hugh Jackson in? I mean, could you imagine being a Cincinnati fan?
Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. I don't know,
man. I want
man.
to get drafted by an organization. Give me 2 seconds for a quick shout out to the Georgia running backs because we have an area kid that is one of the main starters.
Oh, yeah, talk about
DeAndre Swift is a St. Joe's prep kid who plays running back.
That's right
at Georgia, and I know Sony Michel and Chubb are my guys for fantasy, but we had to shout out to DeAndre Swift, the St. Joe's product there, and the Hugh Jackson thing was great. Obviously, people have seen. Maybe they didn't, but Baker Mayfield, his kind of like Hugh was going in for the bro hug.
Yeah, he was,
and Baker's like,
nah, we're good.
It's like
I
play
like
for
that.
the other team now.
I like that. See, that's the intangibles we talk about. So before we get off of football and swing into a little baseball, basketball, John, give me to put you on the spot. Give me, come on, man.
On the spot.
Yeah, come on. You're an analyst guy. Give me a
All
couple guys. Playoff, going down and maybe, you brought up Bruce Ellington. Maybe a couple guys that, guys are feeling the effects of Melvin Gordon injury, Marvin Jones. A lot of these guys are hurt. A couple guys maybe we look at maybe on the waiver wire.
I mean, it's
late.
You mentioned Josh Adams. He's probably already taken. I
don't think he is. I think he's only owned in 58% of Yahoo leagues, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, Dak
he's
Prescott's playing good.
Yep.
I still don't quite trust him, but if you need him in a good matchup, I still want to see a couple more. I started him the 1 week when he stunk because I had whoever on a bye. But Gus Edwards is looking good. Adam Humphries. He's a
nice name for
Tampa. He's
Tampa.
a decent fill-in. Well, Deshaun Jackson's going to
he's
see
going
a thumb
wrist surgery.
Well, thumb specialist
Thumb now?
or something today.
I thought he was going with Fultz. to see a
But,
risk
I
guy.
mean, you got those guys. Who else? Where's my little injuries here?
How do we feel about Hyde and for Fournette this week?
Yeah, my kid was just saying, should I play T.J. Yeldon this week? I said no. Hyde's going to be the guy that
be the
fills
vulture.
in. Yeldon's their role doesn't really change. He's a third down guy. He'll get a couple carries, but I mean, I don't know how productive Hyde's going to be. Without Fournette, that was their only hope of offense that they showed against the Steelers, like since he came back from injury. Now you're going with who is it? Cody Kessler.
Kessler.
Once again, teams taking chances on ex-Browns. You know what I mean? That makes no sense. Now you have no Fournette, so I don't like Hyde's chances. A.J. Green, I don't know if he's going to be back, but once he's back, I like Tyler Boyd. You know, I alluded to that. Jack Doyle on the IR.
Yeah,
pick up Eric Ebron.
I was going to say, picks up Ebron, right?
Yeah, he's been having a great year already, but give him another kick
How about
up.
Dante Pettis? What do you think about him? I know he's been talked about here and there all.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Garson's been out and Goodwin's been out.
Right.
So you're talking about who was it? The Bourne supremacy out there, Kevin Bourne, or what is it? It ain't Jason Bourne, but it's
Bourne supremacy.
The Bourne supremacy out in the 49ers with Nick Mullins throwing the
Nick
ball.
Mullins.
Nick Mullins is chucking it up for a $180 passing every week. So I mean, that whole passing game's not really looking good, other than Kittle, who's just a beast. You know, Pettis is he's the best receiver they have that's playing. That's all I could say about him.
Do
really.
you touch anybody in the Seattle backfield?
Chris Carson.
But do you rely on Chris Carson now?
I started him this past week.
Okay.
I mean, some of it's by necessity, or you're
Did
talking
you
in the
see
flex.
his 360 flip?
Oh,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
He landed on his feet and kept running.
Yeah.
Sorry, John.
Well, no, the biggest thing that I keep looking at is the workload, the workload situation. Mike Davis might get a little more work in the passing game, but Rashad Penny, he's really nothing more than vulturing a couple carries here and there. Like he gained 45 yards the 1 week because he ran for like 50 yards for like a 20-yard gain because he was back and forth all over the place. But they still don't quite trust him. Chris Carson, when he's there, he's the guy. What I'm looking right here at his stats. I have him right.
Oh, Chris Carson?
Me, where is
His
it?
biggest thing is durability. I mean, he seems
Chris
like
Carson
he's
had
always hurt.
16 carries to Mike Davis's 4 and Rashad Penny's 4. That's
Right.
it.
And
That's all I need to
right.
see.
Right.
So he's getting he's getting 2/3 to each of those guys are getting a sixth.
So listen, you know, we got it all. I mean, John's got an awesome sheet here. Listen, at PGH John 36. Tweet to him. Yeah, I love his Twitter background. He's got like just a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet behind of all his analytical work that he does.
Well, and I forget the guy that he's been asking me a lot of questions to say, and he does not want to start Calvin Ridley. Like
really?
He had Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley. He's always questioned Calvin Ridley. It didn't pan out last week, but it sure did this week. So yeah, look, this fantasy game is not. There's no perfection here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's luck of the draw.
I mean,
man.
even sometimes you
It's
look.
got a lot of luck in it, man.
You know, I was talking to Coach Dave. You could be third in scoring, but if you don't make the playoffs, well, what do? You know, if your goal every year is to go in and be top 3 in scoring, that's all you could really ask for going into a fantasy season.
Right.
Sometimes it just doesn't work out. That luck's not in your favor,
You're
or
right.
injuries, or what.
You're right. So listen, again, if you want to, go to ask Coach John. I was going to say Coach John. John,
that works.
PGH John 36. Look him up. Ask questions, help you out. We might even do a little playoff survivor pool here at the Heat Ratio. See if everyone's getting involved. But I want to spend 3 minutes talking about Sixers because I got a 10-minute Phillies conversation. I think me and Dave are going to go back and forth with it a little bit.
Oh, I'm ready.
To end the show.
I'm ready. It's almost baseball fantasy season.
I know,
My
so.
research is only a few weeks away.
Jimmy Buckets does it again. He's revived us Sixers fans who may have been disappointed, like myself, that we did not get one of the big 3. No matter what anybody says, there was a big 3. No matter if Paul George was coming here or not, or Kawhi was going where he went, or LeBron was going where he went, we still didn't get one. Well, guess what? We got a superstar that he's a closer. He's a legitimate closer. He did it again. Obviously, he's got his good face on because he wants to get paid, but it doesn't matter right now. This guy closed games. Last, real fast answer here. Do they have enough or do they need one more piece? I think they need one more piece. I don't know about you guys. I mean to win the East. I still think they need one more piece to win the East.
I mean, it's no slam dunk any way you look at it. I mean, you really
no,
gotta,
but do you right now? Do you you go up against Toronto? Do you go up against Boston? Obviously,
yes, you go up against them, but you don't know if you're going to fail.
I think
so. You need
they're
another
weak on the
one
bench.
if you want to really feel good about your chances.
I think they need to bring another guy in, and I think they will. But Coach Day, you think they need another guy?
Yes, one more piece. I think defensive help.
Yes, huge.
I got Brett Brown as a concern for me. You talk about Jimmy buckets.
I agree,
and I love that he hit those 3-pointers. But when you're down 1, you don't need a 3, and that's your play call.
Yeah, but that wasn't the play call. That wasn't the play call.
So okay, if it's not the play call, but I don't like it. I want to see people in the paint. I want a 10, 15-foot jump shot. I don't want to see a 3-pointer. I don't want to see Joel Embiid on the 3-point line.
Yeah, but wait a minute.
I don't want to see any
back up, Coach Dave. Hold on, I got a question for you because you're a coach, okay, and you've been a player. So did you listen to the press conference afterwards when they asked Jimmy about that shot, and he said that's my favorite move. So what I'm going to ask you is Michael Jordan. His favorite shot was what? A fadeaway jumper.
Yeah.
Okay. He made that apparent in the latter stage of his career. He developed that fadeaway. It was unstoppable.
Yeah.
So if you give the ball to Michael Jordan and say, Mike, close the game.
Yeah.
And he takes a fadeaway no matter where it's on the court. It's his favorite shot.
Yeah.
You're going to feel comfortable with it. Yeah. So Jimmy Butler was told, go close the game.
Yeah.
So that's what they gave him, and he took it. So I have no problem with that shot.
All right, so you changed my mind a little bit about
that.
Fine.
That's just my opinion.
I want him to have the ball.
Yes,
I'm concerned.
No doubt.
My concern, and I have it written down here, Brett Brown is a concern.
He's a concern for me, too.
Because
he's been that way.
And he'll still be a concern.
And here's the concern I have, too, on top of that. If they would have lost to Brooklyn the other night after losing to Cleveland and after losing to Brooklyn earlier in the season, I was thinking that he was getting fired.
No way.
Well, this is why. This was my concerns. I think they're not playing for him properly. I think they're not doing what he's asking them to do, and they're taking liberties more than they should as a young team. Joel Embiid is probably the best player in the league right now, and he's only been playing for 8 years, but he does things on the court that are frustrating, and not, his basketball IQ is definitely should be in question. So, with that being said, I'm concerned whether these young players don't play for Brett properly. I'm not concerned with Brett Brown's coaching ability. All right, so I want to make sure that there's a divide there and to understand. I like Brett Brown. I think he's a hell of a communicator. I think these kids that play for him enjoy playing for him. But there's something about somebody doing the job for you when they're supposed to do it. So you're the boss. They're supposed to like you, but they have to perform. If they don't perform through your mindset, then you're not going to be successful, or your job is going to be in line because they're not seeing success. And if he's not able to get his message across and then play the right way, then he's going to be the one gone. So I'm concerned because they have to play the game the right way, getting to the foul line and doing things properly that way. I know that's not the game, and getting in the paint is not really the game.
I get it. Me and you were probably on that same, I envision. I'm still an old school coach. Mm-hmm. I preach to my kids, work the ball in to work it back out. So I want the ball in first. I don't want that top 4 on the top of the key and we just swing the ball around and somebody takes a 3. I can't stand that offense. I can't stand it. That's just not me. I want to drive, isolate, go down the block, get fouled, get to the line. That's what I want to do. So, but I don't think it's that they don't play for him. I just think I think it's one guy. And people get mad at this, but I think it's Ben Simmons. Listen,
he's your point guard.
Yes, people can say what they want about Ben, and they can call him a generational talent. I get all that, but all I see with Ben is a guy who constantly is lackadaisical with the ball when the game counts. He has more turnovers, okay, at the end of the game than anybody in the league. Okay, that's a problem. And I credit Brett Brown for taking the ball out of his hands at a few of those games down the stretch and giving it to Jimmy Butler and putting it in his hands. My problem is I feel Ben is an arrogant player who feels that he doesn't have to get better. And I know people are going to disagree with that. But I just feel he's a kid who has been told that his abilities, no matter jump shot or not, will get him to wherever he needs to go. So I feel he doesn't feel like he needs to develop anything else. And that's why he's kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
Think about it. Why is he not shooting? He doesn't want to. He just doesn't want, and I don't think he ever will.
Or is it the coach isn't forcing him to shoot? And this goes to my point. If Brett Brown calls a play, you're going to shoot a 10, 15-foot elbow jumper right here, and he doesn't run it and do it, I'm going to take you out of the game. I know it's professional basketball, but you're a second-year player. He's a second-year player, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you got 20 more years with him? Whatever. So if he can't prove that he has the ability to learn now, then he's not going to. And if it's the coach, first thing to go will be the coach. So this is my point.
No, I understand.
This is my point. They want to play for him. They like him. Then they got to start doing what he asks them to do, or he's got to go.
Well, that's one thing we don't know. We don't really know what he's
Right.
asking. He's being asked to do.
So real
So
quick,
we're kind of just stipulating
or
speculating. I mean,
it is. And one thing to add into your one more piece to add for next year. There's one player I want. So you'd be signing two players because you'd be signing Jimmy Butler.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and then the other one, and this is it for your Sixers, and they win championships, is Kemba Walker.
I love Kemba Walker.
So
he's the guy I want.
So Kemba is not the big name that
No.
people that don't know basketball don't know who Kemba is, even though he's a top 5 scorer right now.
Because he plays where?
Yeah, Charlotte.
And nobody knows who plays in Charlotte. That's why nobody knew who Chris Paul was.
Right.
But go ahead.
Kemba is the closest version to me, in my opinion, of an Allen Iverson. And he is a flat-out scorer. He can just score the bucket. You give him the ball, and he can shoot threes. He can drive the lane. He's a small guy, but he'll play R2 guard. So you add Kemba to Ben Simmons. Hopefully Ben gets his mind right. Kemba at the 2, Butler 3, and Joel. And you can put, you could play the 4, Tony.
And now JJ comes back off the bench. But that's a good thing. I mean, he's 20 minutes a game off the bench. He's always fresh, right? You get Shaman come off the bench.
Yeah.
Okay. You get a couple other guys, through free agency. The Muscala kind of guys,
Yeah.
that'll come in. But no, it's a great point. It's a great point. But it's just going to be. I'm interested to see how this all works down the stretch. Because I think they are who they are. I have Brett Brown concerns. I'm not going to get into them. I have concerns they constantly go down 20 points and they give up 20-point leads. I questions about the scheme and the rotations every now and then. But, hey, listen, the one thing I think we can all agree on is that we can get excited to watch Sixer basketball.
Oh,
It is exciting.
Look,
Right?
It's a long season.
Oh,
Man,
I
they
agree.
got a
I
long
agree.
way to go. Where you are today in late November versus where you're going to be in February versus where you're going to be come playoff time. I mean, that's like night and day. They just added Jimmy Butler, a week and a half ago?
Oh, no, listen.
There is so
yes.
much that needs to play out. Brett Brown still, these guys haven't been together that long.
No, you're right.
So there's a whole bunch. We don't even know what this team is capable of. They could be capable of missing the playoffs and getting the coach fired, or they could be capable of dominating with the team that they have and turning it around and making something special happen. But regardless, I still think there's going to be a little something added for a playoff.
No, you're right. You're right. And, listen, speaking about the coach, we're talking about coach getting fired, a coach that's coming back. Maybe not to the chagrin of Mr. Dixon over here is Mr. Gabe Kapler. And I got to talk some Phillies. We got about 7 minutes left here. And I got to talk Phillies because I'm hype. We always do final thoughts on PI Live. And last night my final thought was I think we're a week away from the Phillies dropping a hammer here. Okay, there's going to be a
Christmas time.
Yes, winter meetings are coming. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's been a lot of stuff coming out. Paxton gets traded to the Yankees. All of a sudden now you see the Phillies in hot stove rumors with Seattle for Gene Segura and Edwin Diaz, who nobody even predicted. Then all of a sudden it comes out a report yesterday. They talked to Arizona about Paul Goldschmidt. Okay, I want to talk about that because I think it's interesting because all we've heard in this offseason is we want to sign Bryce Harper so we can move Hoskins back to his normal position, which is first base. Well, if you sign Paul Goldschmidt, that means that experiment's over. Trade for him, and he's your first baseman now, and Hoskins is back in left field. But I got to tell you, I don't know the dynamics, okay? But for me to envision just like we got Jimmy Butler and the big three of Butler, Embiid, and Simmons. For me to envision a lineup of a 3-4-5 of Hoskins, Harper, Goldschmidt, whatever way you want to say it. I mean, come on, man. How do you not get giddy about that? I mean, you think about the National League, who has a 3-4-5 like that? Nobody. So I can't not get happy about just the thought. And I want to preface this by saying, so you guys can get in, is I'm just happy that it looks like they're actually thinking of creative ways that make this team a winner. And I like that. I don't care. We got to trade the whole fucking farm system. Ooh, I just dropped the F-bomb. I'm sorry. Normally don't do that. Yeah. Sorry about that. But, hey, it is what it is. That's how excited I am.
Mickey Mantle.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to have a code word.
Code word.
Listen, honestly, I don't care if we do that. I really don't care. I'm tired of going to Citizens Bank Park with half the stadium empty. I'm tired of falling asleep through games. I am. I want a good team to watch, and I think that's what they're set on doing, and I'm excited because I think it's coming.
I don't know, Phillies, they're spending money. They're going to spend money. So that's
Middleton
not
said crazy money.
So they
How about that?
Yeah, well, and they cast the net so wide. All right, if I'm spending money to improve my team, I'm taking a look. Give me that ESPN top 50 free agent list, and I'm going to make a simple call. You got enough guys working in that darn office. You can't tell me that they can't make a call and just say, hey, what do you guys what's this look like? All right, good. Now all of a sudden ESPN's reporting that the Phillies, almost every single free agent that's out there, the Phillies have been linked to.
Oh, absolutely.
Look,
we know that. We know why, too. And I get it.
I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm highly, highly skeptical that Goldschmidt would be a Philadelphia Philly. All right, because of all the position stuff.
I get it.
But, absolutely. Are they going to explore the opportunity? If they get something that's laid in their lap that says, yeah, if you take him and you take, they were trying to package him with, I think, Greinke.
Jack Greinke.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what they were doing.
They're trying to dump the stuff.
They're trying to dump salary.
Back. Well, hey, look, if you want to make a splash,
think about that right now,
it.
though. Think about that. You got Zach Greinke and Gold. What's Greinke, 33? Something like that. So now you got a rotation that starts with Nola, Greinke, and help me out.
I think Greinke would be the ace there.
Who am I missing?
Who?
Jake Arrieta.
But
I'm just saying.
Oh,
you
were you really missing him?
Yeah, I was. I like Jake, man. I like Jake.
But you put him at third there.
Yeah,
that could be. I know he's a question mark, John. I agree with you. I do agree with you.
Well, look, I thought he was a question mark going into last season, and what last season has proved to me is that I don't think he's going to be able to hold it up to really lead your rotation through the whole year.
Nola's a real deal.
Yes, absolutely.
Nola's a real deal. I think Eflin gets traded this offseason. I think he's their trade. I think he's their piece to.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
All these big names. Sexto is
Sixto Sanchez.
Yeah, his name's getting floated out there.
I'm telling you something right now. If Sixto Sanchez, I hear all these guys. I highly respect them. John Johnson. I like listening to John Johnson a lot. WIP. I think he has a lot of insightful news, and I think he's very credible. But I'll tell you what, John. If Sixto Sanchez can grab me some superstar, I'm going to Nicaragua or wherever it is to pick this kid up, and I'm dropping him off wherever I need to go because I'm tired of waiting. Okay, I want now. I'm tired now. I'm ready. I'm ready to win. Ready to spend some money.
No question. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, bud.
It's an arm. You never know with pitching. You never know how they translate.
Too much weight is put into these young prospects. All right, this guy. I mean, I know he's small, and I just happened to look it up. 6 foot 185. He's 20 years old.
Tell me what hand he throws.
What hand?
What he's righty.
He's a righty.
I don't. We need left-handed pitching.
They're going to sign Jay Happ.
How many guys are highly ranked prospects and never develop into anything?
A ton.
He's small at stature. I heard was he had a little bit of arm issue, I believe.
Yeah, like forearm, something like that.
Right, but then you start thinking about things and the workload and how many young guys go through this, Tommy John and everything. Well, if I know that I can package this guy,
you're right.
And I'm already spending money, which means I'm going for the playoffs and trying to make a push. If I'm doing it, man, I'm getting rid of this question mark. Even though he is a spectacular talent, I'm getting rid of this question mark and I'm bringing on someone. And I think the Astros are crazy for not entertaining opportunities for Forrest Whitley, who's out with the Tommy John. He's their big young arm, and they're not listening. They wouldn't trade him for James Paxton.
That's crazy.
So I got a list of reading stuff for the Phillies, and a lot of stuff what you two are talking about, I agree with. It's exciting that the Phillies are in this play, and that we're able to discuss it. Patrick Corbin, Evaldi, J.A. Happ, which Tony, you just mentioned. Outfielders are Pollock and Brantley.
Love Pollock.
And relievers are Kimbrel and Zach Britton. I mean, these are names that, I don't know, add 1, 2, or 3 of them, and we're exciting. We're exciting.
Very
the
very
Goldschmidt
exciting.
thing, like what John said. Yeah, I agree with you, Tony, but I have to have certain pieces out of the way, right? You tell me that Santana is gone, fine.
Yeah, no problem. Drive him there.
Right, get rid of him. Goldschmidt can play. Goldschmidt can play first base. He probably got 2 or 3 years left of Goldschmidt, and then Reese can come. He's young enough to play first base, but.
Listen, can we just let's just agree that we're open for business in Philadelphia.
It's gonna look good.
It's going. Listen, man, we got to wind this down. Go ahead, John.
I got one last.
10 seconds.
Look, the Pirates are done with their free agent signing.
Are we really talking about the Pirates?
We're not ending on that.
They just signed Lonnie Chisenhall. It's over. It's over,
dude. Lonnie
we got our beast.
Is he like the new Scream villain or something? Lonnie Chisenhall.
Yeah, he screams on the DL.
He was probably Cleveland, right?
Yes.
Well, on that note,
yes,
we're shutting
on
this
that
down.
note, I'm shutting
We're
it
shutting
down.
this down. So
Pirates
listen,
baseball is over.
Another year no baseball in Pittsburgh.
Exactly.
But that's okay. But hey, listen, everybody, thanks for listening. Have a great week. I'm your host, Tony Control, find at TControl23, John PGH John 36, and Coach Dave at Coach Dave 365, Mr. Dixon. So get us on Twitter at the Heat Ratio. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a good Wednesday.